Hello, hello. All right, just a little bit of an update. Had some time this morning to do a little bit more work and have some pretty cool stuff to show. So I have, as before, my Raspberry Pi. That's the Pi Zero W. I've removed the little circuit board that I was building on the bread box just to keep things a little bit more simple. And I've really sort of replicated the functionality there anyway, though I don't have any resistors or anything else in line here. But what I've done is I'm using 4 of the Raspberry Pi's GPIO, general purpose input output ports. 2 of them I'm using as outputs, 2 of them I'm using as inputs. What I've done here is I've connected an input to an output. I've done that actually twice, so I have really what amounts to 2 stations here. Basically, the way this works is when I set a port to output, and I set its counterpart port to an input, and then I apply a voltage to the output port, basically setting that port to high, if you will. I read that value, so to speak, on the input port. I read that I have a high value. Basically, what that amounts to is if there's no voltage applied, it reads as a low or 0. If there is voltage applied, I read that as high or 1. So it's really a binary situation. So that's piece number 1. And I guess piece number 2 with the circuit, the stations, right? Piece number 3 would be the code that I've got, which I've made some adjustments to, made some changes to. Again, this is written in Python, sitting on top of Linux. And then the third piece, or really the fourth piece, which is really the new cool addition to the platform here, is over here on this screen. So that is my AWS, my Amazon Web Services IoT console. What I'm doing here is I'm using Amazon's AWS IoT core as the back-end platform for this. What that allows me to do is a number of things. One of them is it provides a fairly easy mechanism for me to connect this guy through my software to the cloud and do it securely. I mean, if you look at this diagram here, this does a pretty good job of explaining more or less why you would want to use something like an IoT platform. You have your devices that sit over here. You have a message broker that sits between them. You have all of the AWS functionality over here on the right-hand side, and you have your IoT applications here. But what's not shown here is the complexity involved with actually securely connecting your device to some back end, right? Using things like encryption and keys. A lot of that stuff is all taken care of directly by AWS's IoT platform. So it removes a lot of the complexity with respect to securely connecting a device to some back end and getting data to and from it, as well as monitoring and managing those end devices and communicating to them, not just getting communications from them. So let's go back to the monitor side of things here. What I'm going to do is what I've set up now is when an event is detected here, I am not only going to log it here and write it to a log file here on the local hard drive, but I'm actually pushing that message up to the cloud, which then means that I have that data in a server platform in the cloud, and I can then act upon that data. Acting upon that data would mean, in one sense, right, sending a signal to the smartphone app that the user has for the monitoring platform, showing them that a window is open or a window is closed, or a door is open or a door is closed, or an alarm has occurred or something else has happened. But basically having the IoT backend, and whether it stays on Amazon or it goes to Google or I look at Microsoft Azure or something else, having the backend infrastructure is critical because it's what allows me to really take the data off of this device and potentially tens of thousands of these things deployed all over the country, get it into a cloud, and ultimately get it into a smartphone and a smartphone app. So let's go over to the test function. This allows me to actually monitor what's taking place. So I'm going to subscribe to a topic. A topic in MQTT. MQTT is a message queuing protocol. It's basically a very lightweight protocol for sending a message from one thing to another thing, or from one thing to many things. And the way that those messages are structured is you have this concept of a topic, and you can subscribe to a topic, and you can when a topic is published to everybody who subscribes to that topic will get that message. Similarly, if you subscribe to multiple topics, right? You may publish to only one of them, though you may get info from 5 different topics if that's what you've subscribed to. So here I'm going to subscribe to the same topic that I'm actually writing to. You can see here on this line, I'm actually using a topic called SDK Test Python, which is just a test topic. Nothing special going on there. All right, so I'm going to subscribe to that. Now we're waiting in the cloud. We're waiting for events to come across, messages for that topic. Now I'm going to go ahead and boot up my alarm system. You'll see a bunch of messages go by. That's the thing initializing. That's I have debugging turned on for the Amazon stuff right now. Okay, so it looks like the stations are all up. Connection to the cloud is up, though we have not sent anything over there yet. So let me see if I can back up here, almost to the point that I can show you. I've got my finger on the white one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect it. And now you'll see here on the local console we're getting messages. Here in the cloud we're getting messages. So we're seeing data come up to the cloud. Now the content of the data, there's some structuring I need to do with respect to the data so that I can write the code on the server side that tells it what to actually do with things. But you can see basically the same event information that shows up here is showing up over here on the local console as well. So anyway, some exciting, cool stuff. We are now talking to the cloud. Now it's just a matter of making it do something once we have data up in the cloud. Cheers.